Good morning, dear students. Welcome back to the another topic, that is redundancies and cliches. It's a very important topic, my dear. It's not only going to be useful to you during your BTech and also whenever you write something. So after your BTech, when you're preparing a video, or when you're writing something, or when you're speaking. So these redundancies and cliches topic will help you a lot, because we the people who love to speak English language like anything. And but the thing is here, what actually happens, sometimes unknowingly or knowingly, we are actually using our expressions or words unnecessarily, which are not needed at the time. So this topic, I hope, will help you to enhance your communication skills in a better way. Let's see what are these redundancies and cliches. See here, being an effective writer, so most of the times we use these redundancies and cliches or happen to see these things so in writing. So being an effective writer means choosing the right word to say what you mean and conveying your meaning in an interesting and engaging way. You can improve your writing style by avoiding overused expressions and words, and by making sure that every word you wrote has the maximum impact. You should not miss that point. So whatever you're writing, make sure it should have maximum impact. So this is how these things are going to be helpful. And let's see what this redundancy and cliche is all about. See here, redundancy is nothing but it is usually defined as a use of two or more words that say the same thing. So in other way, using words unnecessarily. So when we are using words unnecessarily, we say it as redundancy, or we call it as also wordiness. So which actually takes the form of circumlocutions. That is what actually going to happen. The best example I can give you redundancy, so to make you better understanding. See here, I can use the word tranquil is okay, fine then. Instead, when I'm speaking welcome, I better use this one in a sentence. So welcome you all in this tranquil morning is okay. If I start saying welcome all in the tranquil, calm, peaceful, serene morning, it doesn't make any sense. I have to use either of these. I have to use either tranquil, calm, peaceful, or serene. So I have to take a word, I have to choose the word according to that context. So we the one should be in the position to make sure which word need to be used. So if you are using too many words, it's going to impact your writing, it's going to impact, or it's going to affect your speaking. So that's the reason we the one who's going to avoid, or we should avoid this redundancy. Let's see a few examples here. See, most of the people, when they are using these words, they say still remains. You're not supposed to say still remains, but you should say remains. And second one, each and every. If I'm not mistaken, whenever we happen to listen to any lecturer or in the lecturers in the classroom, most of the times they use each and everything, or each and every student they say. You need not to say each and every time, or you need not to use even that phrase. You better say each student. That is hardly enough. Okay, right. Instead of saying at the present time, you better say currently. Instead of saying the reason is because, instead of using that expression, you better say because. And instead of saying end result, say result itself will be given at the end. So where you're not going to use end again. So that's the reason it is better say result. So innovation is something which is new. Again, for which you need not to say new inventions. Better use innovation or invention or whatever it may be. And next, you need not to say during the course of. You better say during. During is nothing but doing something. Right. It talks about a period. During means. And next here, instead of saying make a decision, you better say decide. So this is how we can actually avoid this redundancy. Let's try some examples in a sentence. See here, examples using in sentences. See here, all the red colored are incorrect sentences, and which are in green color are correct sentences. Let's see. The first sentence says, he carefully examined each and every letter. Instead, we can better say, he carefully examined each letter, which sounds better. Each and everything is a redundancy. You need not to use every time that. And next here, the best, this one is the best example that you can ever understand. The blue whale is a huge, enormous giant of an animal. See here, huge means enormous. Enormous means giant, bigger. So these three words, huge, enormous, and giant, carries the same meaning, for which you need not to use these three words in a sentence in order to show up your language skills or in order to show up your vocabulary. Right? It rather actually bores the listener. So instead, you better say, the blue whale is an enormous animal. Sounds good. Our next one is here. The accused was guilty of false misstatement. Mis itself talks about something false. So for which you need not to use the false again over there. So you better say, the accused was guilty of misstatement. Our next one. There was an ovation when the minister rose up to speak. You can say like this. There was an ovation when the minister rose to speak. Rose is nothing but standing up. Again, you need not use up over there. Our next one is here. The reason why I did not attend the party last night was because I had a headache. So you can say the reason why I did not attend the party last night was that I had a headache. You better say like this. So we the people should be in the position to understand when we are using a sentence. So you need not to show up your your vocabulary skills or your language skills when you're reading or when you're writing or when you're speaking. Make sure whatever you're presenting, as I told you earlier, they should have maximum impact. Your talks must have a maximum impact. So make sure of that. And next one, we are moving on to the next slide, is all about cliches. What is this cliche? And they are just like redundancy. So there we're going to use in the redundancy, we're going to use a different we're going to use too many words. But here, cliche is nothing but overused expressions. Overused expressions is nothing but expressions are nothing but, if I'm saying something, the audience or the listener should be in the position to understand. If they don't, there is no use, there is no meaning using of that expression over there. See here, cliches are part of our everyday speech. We don't realize that we are using them, and they tend to annoy people when you actually use them, especially if they are when they are overused, and also you're going to giving them a room to tune out. So we the people should be in a position to be very careful, and these cliches are words or phrases that have been used so often that they are no longer very interesting or effective. So these are overused expressions, so which are not necessarily used. Let's see what are these and how are these things are going to be used. See here, when we are describing time, the following expressions have turned into cliche. So in order to say it happened just in time, if you say in the nick of time, who will understand that? It's going to be a cliche. And in order to say face the consequences, if you're going to say face the music, what people understand when I say face the music? Should the listener go and enjoy the music? No, it's not like that. So it's going to be cliche to the listener, though you know the meaning of that, but no, you won't get time to elaborate or you explain that one. So we the one, whenever we are talking about, so better avoid overused expressions. And next, in order to say to become clear over time, so we're going to use only time will tell. And I hope you understand where we actually use all these expressions. A matter of time, in order to tell, happens sooner or later. at the speed of light to do something very quickly. So he does everything very quickly. So instead of saying like that, if you use this statement, speed of light, so he does everything at the speed of light, who's going to understand? Nobody. So that's the reason we the one should be in the position to understand and go accordingly. Our next one, lasted an eternity. So last for a long time. So when we are talking about times and all, we actually use these expressions. Our next, last track of time. Stop paying attention to time. So normally this happens in the classrooms. So we can't pay attention for longer time, being a listener. So then if I use this expression over here, so nobody is going to understand what I said. So instead of this, if I say this one, everybody will easily understand. Next, we use these cliches are happens to seen in describing various sentiments, and see how these expressions have turned into cliche. So when we are too frightened, so if you are saying frightened to death, it's going to be a cliche. And the same word can be said in other words, the scared out of one's wits, which is said as the same, to be too frightened. So according to the situation, we actually take these two words, my dear. And next, all is fair in love and war. So instead of saying art, which carries the meaning to go to any extent to claim somebody's love. And all is well that ends well. A happy ending reduces the severity of problems that comes in one's way. And these are the expressions which actually gives a kind of cliche when we are describing various sentiments. And the slide continues. So every cloud has a silver lining, which means problems also have something good in them. So whenever we are going through some problems, some people say everything is for his sake. So when they are saying everything for his sake, and instead of that, if they use every cloud has a silver lining, it's going to be a cliche to the listener. And instead of saying something clear and already understood, if you're saying that the writing on the wall, so this one is actually a biblical term. A biblical term means which is used in Bible. So something clear and already understood means here when you're telling something and when it is understood by somebody. So I guess it's a writing on the wall. If you say like that, nobody will understand that. So next one here, time heals all wounds. So pain and miseries will heal. So with the passage of time. And instead of saying that, if you're saying time heals all wounds, so this is how we're going to face the problem. It's going to be a cliche for the people, or for the audience, or for the listener. And instead of saying people make mistake when rushing, to take it for granted, everybody is going to make that. So instead of saying this statement, if you say haste makes waste, so it's going to be a cliche for the listener. So we the one should be in the position to understand so how to avoid these redundancies and as well as the cliches when you're writing and when you're speaking. This is what is all about the topic redundancies and cliches. So if you still have any queries, and we'll discuss them in the coming class, or else you can ping me on WhatsApp. Thank you guys.